What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, of course, is the one and only Alexis Arguello Puppet. We're back with another banger. Y'all know what we do here. Most amazing and real boxing conversations anywhere on planet Earth. Legends, luminaries, world champions, and fighters on the come up. Coming here to chop it up with your boy, Reckless Rexx. And today is no different. My guest is already here, so we are getting down to it and chopping it up ASAP. That means quick. There he is. What's up, my man?
What's going on? How you doing?
Good, man. I'm glad to have you on here, man. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, listen, man. Pennsylvania does it again, man. What is up with Pennsylvania? Is there something in the water there?
Well, Philadelphia, it's the fight capital, you know?
Is that specifically where you are, Philadelphia?
I'm about 15 minutes outside of Philadelphia, but, you know.
But lately, I've been having a slew of them on here, man. And I'm sure you being, in that network, you probably know. Yesterday, I had Danny Bodish.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Danny?
Yeah, know the name. Don't know him personally, but know the name.
How about Anthony Bizzarro?
Yep, same deal. Know the name.
Yeah, I mean, and all these great young, potential future champions all coming out of Pennsylvania, man. Really, really rich boxing scene there.
Definitely, and a lot of young guys too. And
young guys.
I mean, in their teens even.
Yeah,
making their way up in the pro ranks.
And now you are 26 years old. So whereabouts do you feel like you are in terms of like your prime? Do you feel like you're at it? You're not quite there yet. You're in the midst of it.
So I've had a long boxing career, but it's been a weird. Like I started when I was 11, 12.
Yeah.
And then I would train for a year, take a year off, train for a year, take a year off.
Yeah.
So I haven't been consistent. So honestly, no, I think I have a lot more in the gas tank, and I'm definitely, I wouldn't even say in my prime. I definitely have a lot, a long road ahead of me, definitely.
And what was your upbringing like? Like you mentioned getting the gloves on around 11 years old. What was it that got you to a boxing gym, man? What spurred the whole journey to start?
So where I'm from. It's a very suburban area. But most people never even heard of boxing.
Yeah.
So it's not. But my dad, I always played sports. I played every sport all year round. A lot of sports. So I was always athletic. Always, just loved the, compete and everything. Yes. But my dad boxed just when he was in his 20s and when I was a kid, like every night after dinner we'd throw the gloves on and spar since I was like 4. And then I guess I was like 11 years old. He said, "Hey, you want to take a ride up to the gym?" Where he went back in the 70s, and he took me up, and I fell in love. And ever since, I can't stay away from it.
And was there anybody that wanted to, for lack of a better term, put a stop to it? Like I know a lot of fathers on here. I hear the same story a lot. They're psyched up about bringing their kids to a boxing gym, but maybe the mother's not so psyched up about their kid getting punched in the face for a living.
Yeah, so believe it or not, my mom, she loves it. She absolutely loves it.
Okay.
Shout
out, mom. That's a different twist.
Yeah, if I never got into it, she probably wouldn't have been too mad. But I mean, she sees how happy it makes me. It kept me out of trouble as a kid.
Yeah.
You got to have discipline and you got to put the time in. So, in a weird way, it was kind of a blessing in disguise that I started boxing, for her,
And when you were growing up, were you watching a lot of it? And if so, were there guys that you looked at on the TV that you wanted to emulate or looked up to?
Yeah, I believe it or not, I was always watching the older fights like Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker, Roberto Duran, and then just the big names, Tyson. I'd always watch the Floyd Mayweather fights, obviously. Right. But yeah, I just loved boxing. I loved watching it. I loved, I just loved everything about it.
And what about the guys competing currently? Who are some guys that you enjoy watching now?
Currently, I'll tell you what, I'd rather go to a small club show in Philadelphia and watch those guys and watch the big fights on the TV just because they just want it more. And especially like you just mentioned about Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, like anybody on the street could go watch a small club show in Philadelphia, Jersey, Delaware, and they fall in love because these guys around here, they're different, and these promoters, they put on phenomenal, fights and matchups. That's just, it's awesome. So, I mean, honestly, I love the local guys. guys that names that most people wouldn't even hear about,
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, my son and I were just down in Erie, Pennsylvania this past weekend. So, he's got 4 children, so it got hard for him to continue to co-host with me. But so like we've done over 260 episodes. My son co-hosted the first 160 episodes with me, and then, like I said, it got a little tough for him to do it. But he'll still pop in from time to time, like when he's able to. But we just went down last weekend to Erie, Pennsylvania, actually to watch Anthony Bizarro's card. So his uncle is the promoter down there. He invited us down to actually do the commentating, which was new for us.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it was fun, really
yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that was a little weird is that, like, we wore the headsets, we sat ringside, but then we also had to do the MMA portion of it, which we're not as strong in. I don't know all the terms and the lingo for the MMA as much.
I'm in the same boat with you. I don't know much about it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can tell when a guy's getting, choked, or I've watched enough of it where I can pick up, like, I kind of know what an armbar looks like. I don't know all the technical names for every choke. I kind of know, like, when a guy's in a guillotine or a rear naked or whatever. But thankfully my son has watched. Boxing is our main forte, but my son knows a little bit more about the MMA, so he kind of had to carry me a little bit through that portion of the it was actually like it was a Bizarro promotion thing. People could go on their device and buy it for $29.99, and we were the voices. And we were the voices that they heard.
See, that's the best thing about this sport. Like, there's so many possibilities. Like, you could be a fighter, a cut man, a corner man, a commentary. You can do it all. There's just so many possibilities.
And so for you, you're currently 5-0, 3 knockouts, man. So you've knocked out more of your opponents than you've had to go to the cards. But for people that haven't seen what you do, how would you assess, like, your fighting style, man? Like, you obviously you see guys get labeled boxer, puncher, or technical guy, or knockout artist. How would you describe what you do?
Yeah, I'm sure everybody says this, but I kind of could do it all. I don't hit the hardest by any means. I'm not the quickest. I'm not, but I would say that I have pretty good head movement, pretty good defense. If I don't want to get touched, I won't. But with that, obviously, you got to have an offense. And some people say I hit hard. Others, not so much. But honestly, I'd say I'm a jack of all trades. I'm definitely not the most technically sound. But when I fight, I come to fight. And I'm always in shape. So I'm not one of them guys who's gonna die down at the end of the fight. I've only fought 4-round fights, so I've never really been put to the test as far as going to deep waters. But I spar 8, 10, 12 rounds, and so I mean, I'd say I'm a little bit of everything. I'm, like I said, I don't hit the hardest. I don't, I'm not the cleanest, but I could pretty much do it all.
And what would you say that your goals are in this sport? Like, a lot of guys, they like to move through the weight classes and they like to become champions at those weight classes. Or there's guys that like to go for all the belts at a weight class. Undisputed means a lot to them. For you, what would you like to accomplish?
So, I mean, as far as my weight class, I'm pretty, I'm 26. I think I'm growing into my body. So I'm going to stay around the 122, 26, 30 weight class. And honestly, just kind of see where it goes. I don't really have any goals set in mind. I just, I kind of take it one fight at a time. And, if an opportunity presents itself, I would love to take it. Other than that, I'll just take it one fight at a time.
And so, some of the hot topics going on in the sport right now, obviously, like this part of the interview, very subjective. You know what I mean? Just kind of checking your temperature on some of the stuff that's going on right now. Obviously, we're a couple weeks away from seeing Bud and Canelo. How do you see that fight shaking out?
Bud, phenomenal fighter. I love him. He's a great fighter. But I think Canelo is going to take it. I think it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a phenomenal fight. Two very good fighters. I just think Canelo has a little bit of the edge, and he's just an animal. I really think he's gonna. It's not gonna be a completely one-sided fight or a blowout. But I think he's gonna take it. I tell you the truth, I think he might stop him in the later rounds.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. If there's going to be a stoppage, it's certainly going to be that way, because nobody can seem to stop Canelo.
No. Yeah. He's different, man. He really is.
Yeah. He's obviously proven he's got one of the most legendary chins ever.
Yeah. And he's been doing it since he was a kid.
If he was taking licks from Triple G, back in the day.
Triple G. Yeah. I wouldn't step in the ring with him.
And so your last win was just this past April, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And so how active would you like to be in 2025? That was your first fight of 2025, right?
Yeah. So just real quick, January 2024, I fought, and I broke my thumb, a couple of different stuff. I hurt my thumb. So that kind of pushed me back a little bit, and then I just started working crazy hours. And honestly, I was going to hang it up. I was done. I wasn't training. Then the new year came. A guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to fight on my card in February?" I said, "Yeah, you know what? Get me back in the game." And I really wanted it. That fight, the guy was from England. He the week, I think it was 2 days before the fight, he didn't get on the plane, so that screwed me out of that fight. Same promoter had one in April where I ended up fighting. That was a good fight. Then I was supposed to fight in May, and I forget what happened there. Didn't end up fighting, and then now I'm honestly taking a little bit of hiatus. So I might take the rest of 2025 off. If I get an offer or somebody contacts me for maybe an October, November fight, I will probably take it. But I might just take it easy the rest of this year and then start back up in 2026 and get right back into it full throttle. And I don't know, 3-4 fights next year maybe.
And what was the impetus for getting you, as you say, you were very close to, like not wanting to continue on with it, man. Was that the only thing, that promoter calling you up, man? Or you said it was a new year, was it a resolution to get back into it? Did somebody else kind of spur you on, or was it just that call from the promoter?
A couple things, but I'm sure every fighter can agree with this. I would go to fights and, just hearing that music, the crowd, you
get the itch. Yeah.
I was just at a fight Saturday in Atlantic City, R&B Promotions, and it's just hearing that crowd, seeing them lights. It just had me, like I said, I'm sure every fighter can agree, that tries to step away. I'm just drawn to it. So
and what was it what was the reason you were going to hang it up? Is it just because of these fights falling through and just the career not going the way you wanted to?
Yeah, like I said, I hurt my hand, and then. And this is every fighter's worst thing that happened. I wasn't training, obviously, and I was getting lazy. I was getting content with coming home from work and kicking my feet up on the couch and eating whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I just got so used to that. And I said, you know what, maybe I don't feel like going to the gym every day, waking up and going for a run. So honestly, just pure laziness. But like I said, I don't think I could ever step away,
But that takes a big person to admit that, though, man. That's not an easy thing to admit, man. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like you're describing, coming home, kicking up your feet, eating whatever you want. That's my life.
Yeah, well, yeah. To tell you the truth, that's my life right now. Some days,
Thank God we can laugh about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, like a lot of people can't admit that, but honestly, just pure laziness and comfortability. Like.
Yeah.
This sport, you gotta be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
It's a lifestyle. It is.
It is. I tell that to everybody.
Yeah, you can't be like half stepping there.
Because it's not golf. It's not soccer. You can get hurt.
Have you thought about? Have you thought about? Because it sounds like you have thought, somewhat about your career. Have you thought about? Because I've had guys on here that are very calculated and even know, like, okay, I don't want to still be taking punches past this age, or I don't want to fight more than X amount of fights. Have you given that much thought to your career?
No, to be honest with you, no. I don't know if that's a bad thing to say, but no, because I had a long career, but I only had I think 11 or 12 amateur fights, and I took breaks off, so I haven't been getting my head beat in.
You don't have the wear and tear on you.
No.
Yeah.
Like some guys who were in the gym since they were 4.
Yeah.
Don't take a break. You know what I mean? So
right,
to tell you the truth, no, that's not one thing I do worry about.
Yeah, because you get some of these guys, man, who might be like your age and already got 40, 50 fights under their belt, professional fights,
Mm-hmm.
And so have you thought about when you are done actually competing and you do hang up the gloves, is boxing something, because it sounds like, you're talking about the lights and being around it and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you'll always keep a foot in it? Like even after you're done actually in-ring, with in-ring competition, are you interested in other facets of the sport, promoting, coaching, training your, fighters yourself? Do you feel like you'll always keep a foot in the sport?
Yeah, I would definitely. I don't think I could be a trainer just because, and I'm guilty of it too. Fighters, there's no, I don't know how I could put it. It's boxing's a funny sport. Like,
yeah,
you have fighters that come and go, and I don't think I could deal with that. And like I said, I'm guilty of it myself.
Yeah.
But as far as being involved in the sport, 100%. who knows, maybe cup man but corner man,
Yeah.
whatever. I will never ever step away from the sport. I'll even do it just real quick. When I was in my little retirement, whatever you want to call it, I did one of them. I don't know if you ever heard of celebrity boxing with Damon Feldman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did one of them, and I had a blast. Honestly, that's another reason I kind of got back into it. I did that, and man, I had a good time, and yeah. So yeah, I'll always be involved in the sport one way or the other.
I think coaching and training is hard though too, man, because when you're dealing with young fighters, and this is not a knock on all young guys nowadays, or whatever, man, but a lot of them, man, it's just a different era. I mean, I'm 52 years old. You know what I mean? I think a lot of these young guys, especially with the advent of technology being so prevalent. Like I had, a huge boxing coach on here the other day. I'm sure you've heard of Breadman.
Yeah, his guy just fought Saturday.
Yeah, and so I asked him, I'm like, as a trainer, man, like what drives you nuts being a trainer now? You know what I mean? Like dealing with these young guys. And he said a lot of it is the phones. They come to the gym and they can't get their nose out of the phone. You can't talk to them. You know what I mean? They get to the gym, they plop their stuff down, they're in their phone. You get them to do some stuff, and then as soon as they're cooling down or whatever, they're right back in their phones.
And they record everything.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if somebody was filming a sparring, they'd be thrown out or worse.
Right.
Now everything's recorded.
I imagine it is distracting. Plus a lot of young guys, it seems like, man, it's like they want everything and they want it to happen for them now.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if there's a lot of patience. You know what I mean?
Nah, you're right. You're spot on with that.
And so, do you have any idea? You said you're toying with the idea of possibly taking the rest of 2025 off, but you are open, as you said, if offers become available, though. But what is too short notice of a fight? Because we've seen people take fights on short notice, like this year alone. Sometimes it works out good. Like we saw Josh Padley step in February on that and fight Shakur Stevenson.
Oh, yeah.
And it changed his life. You know what I mean? It changed his life. But then on that same card, we saw Martin Bacoli do it against Joseph Parker. Didn't work out so good for him.
Yes. No.
So what's too short? So what's too short? Is there an answer for that for you?
Yes and no. I mean, I'd take a fight, 2 weeks notice. Like, I'm 26, but my body's still young. I recover fast. I get in shape fast. So
yeah,
I'm always kind of in shape. I mean, boxing shape is completely different, but I'm always in shape. I'm always on weight. So, I mean, you give me 3 weeks, I'd give me a fighter's chance, against anybody. But obviously, if I want to prepare correctly and all, I'd say a month, at least 4 good weeks,
And what do you feel like? And what do you feel like, again, for people that haven't seen you fight? You mentioned some of the stuff that you do good, man. But if somebody asked you, your best boxing attribute, I mean, what's the one thing that you would single out, man, that David Calabro does good?
I have good footwork. I have very good footwork. So like I said, if I don't want to get hit, I won't get hit. And I could bang a little bit. I could bang, but footwork. So in that fight where I broke my thumb, it happened in the first round, about a minute and a half. And come the end of the second and third round, I had one hand and I was winning. So I was like, you know what? It's unlikely I'm going to knock him out with my left hand, jabbing him and hooking him. Right. So move around, don't get hit, look pretty, like Sweet Pea Whitaker. Yeah. So I can move. Like my footwork's pretty good, and my head movement, so I can move a little bit, And
what about the one thing that when you go to the gym that you'd like to tighten up in your game without giving away too much of your flaws, obviously, you know what I mean? No. I don't want to, expose the holes in your game. No. I mean, but what's something that you wish, like, God, I'm consciously trying to work on this and make this better.
Yeah, no, right off the bat, that's an easy one for me. I don't go to the body as much as I should.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to the body, it takes more out of you. I mean, I'm in shape, but it takes more out of you. Yeah. And when you connect with a good headshot, you want to headhunt. It's just your naturally you just want to keep going to the head. So that I have to go to the body more. That's my biggest thing that I don't do.
It's satisfying, and plus you kind of know as a fighter, man, because there is an element of showmanship. You are also an entertainer. You know what I mean? Like that's what people in the crowd want to see sometimes. Not that you're fighting for the crowd necessarily, but there's an element of what you do is certainly being a showman.
Yeah, and through that, people don't realize, like your average Joe in the crowd, they don't realize how bad getting hit in the body hurts, right? And how much it could slow the other fighter or you down. Yeah. So but like you said, it's not as entertaining when you're going to the body, instead of them big headshots,
And now you mentioned earlier, man, like always enjoying competing, always being relatively athletic. What were some of the other sports? Like, if it wouldn't have been boxing, were there other sports that you feel like you pursued, like, really in depth, man, that could have potentially been, avenues that you could have went in?
Yeah, definitely. I played every sport, soccer, baseball, basketball, the whole nine. But baseball was my sport. I was exceptional in baseball.
Me too.
But yeah, but my thing was, I was playing since I was, I guess, really honestly, ever since I could walk. My dad, that was our thing, baseball.
Me too.
And I was, like I said, I was not trying to brag, but I was very, very good. But by the time I got to high school, I was burnt out. I played all year round for whatever 15 years, and I loved it. But I started to fall out of love with the sport just because I like I said, I was burnt out, and started losing my, when you're not into something, you don't put all your effort into it. But if I continue with baseball, I could have did well. I could have played in college. My size worked against me, so I couldn't have gone, D1, D2. But I could have played in college, but it just wasn't. Like I said, I just got burnt out, and it happens. But yeah, baseball was actually I was pretty exceptional in basketball too. But I stopped growing in 6th grade, and everybody else started shooting up. So that went out the window. Real fast,
Well, I mean, I'm 6'4", and my son is 6'4". But when you really think about it, nowadays in the NBA, 6'4" is even short. These guards are like, like 6'7", 6'8" point guards.
I'm barely 5'5", and like I said, I was 5'5" in 6th grade. So you could imagine, like.
I walk around all the time, and people are always, like, they'll see me at work, or like people will be like, "Hey, what's going on, big guy?" And then when I think of myself, I'm just like, other people see me as a big guy.
Yeah.
But I know that there's big guys walking around in the world.
Yeah.
Like LeBron James is a big guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Yeah. Well, try being me. You got a whole foot on me. Everybody's taller than me.
Yeah. And so, so have you always been a Pennsylvania guy?
Yeah.
Always born and bred there?
Yeah. I don't know how familiar with you with Pennsylvania. You familiar
a little
at
bit?
all?
A little bit. I'm in upstate New York. I'm not far.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know, Westchester University.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like 15 minutes, going towards Philly from there.
Yeah, I'm upstate New York. So
you know what? You know Chester?
Yes.
I'm like 10 minutes from there. Glen Mills.
Yeah. I'm upstate New York, man. So we deal with the same weather. We're both in the Northeast. We both have those fucking shitty winters.
Yeah. I'm a summer guy. If it was 110 degrees, oh man, I'd love that.
Yeah, I mean, probably I'd say probably the closest. You mentioned being in kind of a rural area. I'm kind of in a rural area too, man. But the closest big city for me would be Syracuse.
Okay, yeah. I know exactly where that.
Yeah. So not that far. Yeah, so I'm probably like a half an hour from Syracuse, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
And so you talked about your father bringing you to gym. At what level did your father fight? Was it just amateur?
I don't even. He might have had 1 or 2 amateur fights, but same thing. He was a very athletic guy. He loved the. He was honestly, he's more gritty than me, and I'm more like modest. Not modest. That's a big word. More like calm, relaxed. He's just an aggressive, like competitive guy. So I don't even think he just went up and trained and sparred. Like back when he went, I guess it was the 70s. Philly had the middleweight division, and Philly was. I mean, that was it. That was like, So he would spar with a lot of the Philly guys. I can't think of any names now, but there was a ton of them, So, but no, he just would go and work out and train,
And it sounds like, so you're describing him as grittier, you being a little more modest, man. So like, obviously a lot of the physical tools, man, can be taught. You can pick up how to throw a jab or footwork and a lot of that stuff in a gym. There are people that are born with it or have God-given talent or whatever. But the mental mindset to climb into a ring and fight, and throw yourself into a conflict, that's not something most people usually do, man. So at what point did you develop the mental mindset, man? Like, did you have a fear that you had to overcome? Like, was there a trepidation to get in there at all?
Yeah. So no, I mean, if you see me on the street, I'm very calm, cool. I'm quiet. I'm almost like meek, and nothing really bothers me. But it's funny, like when I step in that ring, I even surprise myself. I just turn into a different animal.
Yeah.
And where that came from, I don't know, because most of these guys in the sport, they're from an inner city or they're gritty. Like they grew up fighting. I didn't have one fight growing up, I don't know. I just have it in me, and And like I said, when I step in that ring, I just flip a switch and I turn into a completely different guy. I guess I just always had it in me. I just don't show it on my, a day-to-day basis.
I think that makes sense what you said, because I just had this conversation with somebody on an episode the other day. It's kind of like, even the nicest guys, man, in order to fight, man, you might not want to admit it because you are a nice guy, man, but but somewhere down there, there's a mean streak. You have to have it.
Yeah, I have it. I have it in me.
Yeah.
It's just, I just keep it locked in.
Right. Yeah. That's probably good. That keeps you out of jail.
Yeah.
It's like the only time you want to flip it is when you're in the ring.
Yes. I found a sport where you can, I hate to say, but where you can, go at it toe to toe with somebody, beat the crap out of each other, and shake hands afterwards. It's a
now.
Yeah.
And now, because MMA, as I talked about, having to go down to that event and commentate, as much as I'm a purist, I really love boxing the most. I know MMA has really gained a foothold in terms of popularity in combat sports or whatever. But is it anything that you ever entertained as far as like going that avenue in combat sports?
Nah. I never wrestled as a kid, and tell you the truth, I'm not even a huge fan of MMA. I've never even watched an MMA fight in person or on TV, and maybe in the background at a restaurant, but. No, absolutely nothing against them guys. They're animals. I wouldn't mess with any of them guys. But
yeah, they are.
I just like I don't like the rolling around. Like boxing, it's an art, man. It's beautiful to watch, But the MMA, like, the guys could be rolling around for 15 minutes,
Right.
It's not for me.
Granted, they are doing things down there, and they are vying for position. There's a lot of positional stuff. There is something scientific going on there, but when you're watching it on TV, a little different in person. But when you're watching it in person, unless you're a studier of any of those arts, you're right. You do feel kind of like you're lost. What am I watching? Here,
no, you hit the nail on the head. And they're phenomenal athletes, and they're warriors. They're animals, and you got to be a little crazy to do that. You got to be tough as nails. But it's just not as pretty as boxing, and honestly.
Yeah, like you see a guy coming at you with those cauliflower ears, you run.
Yeah. I'm a fighter, and I wouldn't fight him.
Yeah, I mean, like those guys are. But there is something that they're doing down there, and I understand, man. You know what I mean? They're trying to get side guard. They're trying to get full mount. They're trying to grab a limb. You know what I mean? Like you leave anything hanging out there, man. They grab onto it. They latch onto it like a pit bull. I realize there's stuff going on there, and I realize it now that I got to do the commentating and actually sit like you sit cage side or whatever. But it's just not as aesthetically pleasing as watching it. In my opinion, man. Like two guys like standing up and duking it out and trying to slip punches and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, boxing it's one of a kind. It's an art. It really is.
Yeah. So talk about a little bit about your preparation, man. Like when you're gonna prep for a fight, man. Are you somebody that will watch your opponent at all, or do you kind of leave that up to your coaches or your team?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm not one of these guys who's going to say, oh, no, I never. Yeah, of course I look the guy up, because I don't want to go in there blind. But unfortunately, like, with these, your first couple fights, there's not always film on the other guy,
Right.
Yeah, I try to find anything on him. But if not, I'll look at, his previous opponents, say, like, did he get stopped? Does he go the distance? Is he in shape? Does he go the distance so he can take a punch? So don't go all out in the first round to try and stop it. Stuff like that. I'm pretty technical when it comes to that, so I'll look into stuff like that.
Are you somebody that ever has in the back of your mind? Now you've had 3 knockouts, but you have gone to the cards twice, though. Obviously, and again, I say this all the time, I've been critical about boxing judging on this show plenty of times. We do still see a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean? We just do. Boxing hasn't figured out the judging thing completely. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. It's a shame. People do get hosed sometimes. They end up on the short end of the stick. Is that anything, like when you're going to go to the cards, is it anything that's ever in the back of your mind? I know you can't control it or whatever, man, but obviously, man, it can change the trajectory of your career.
Yeah, so like as an amateur, I only had 12 fights or so, and I'm pretty honest. I'll tell you when I lose or whatever. There was 2 or 3 fights where I got screwed, and 2 or 3 fights where, could have, I think one was the Golden Gloves districts, but whatever. I could have got to the regionals after that, but there is a lot in amateurs. There was a lot of favoritism, a lot of bias.
Yeah,
so I got screwed a couple times, so that kind of gave me cold feet. But the pros, I haven't had it yet. The 2 fights I had, I knew in the back of my head that I, dominated. And But you never know with the judges these days. You really don't. You know, so
it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, so you hate to say, go in there and try to knock out, because obviously that's never what you want to do. But you're taking a gamble when you leave it up to the judges.
You are. And now as a fighter yourself, I'm interested to check your temperature on, like, when you hear a guy like Turkey Al Sheikh talk about these. He doesn't want to see these Tom and Jerry fights, as he puts it. Obviously, there are guys who use their legs a lot. They use their ring a lot. You know what I mean? You call them what you want. Tacticians, technical boxers. I know some fans, it's not crowd pleasing. The fans don't like to see it or whatever, but it is their game. They've probably been doing it ever since they've been boxing. It's the style that they've developed or whatever. As a fighter yourself, when you hear a guy like Turkey Al Sheikh, who hasn't fought himself, make those kind of statements, is it insultive? Where I know he's paying these fighters. He wants to put on the cards he wants to put on, but you can't really dictate how a guy fights.
Right. I mean, like let's just look at Floyd Mayweather. People, as a person, I'll be honest, not a huge fan. But people say, "Oh, he was boring. He ran. He didn't." But he 15-0, never lost a fight. There's a reason for that. I mean, this is boxing. Hit and don't get hit.
Exactly.
Yeah. As a watcher, you want to see two guys, Toro Gotti, Mickey Ward, standing there taking each other's head off. But that's not the sport. You can't make it far, and that's in this sport, standing there and brawling. It's great as a fan watching, but when you're in there, you don't want to take them punches. You don't want to take that damage. Now, if you're clearly just running, and not throwing any punches back, okay, I get that. But as far as the like a Floyd Mayweather type, I mean, that's the sport, man. That is the name of the game. Hit and don't get hit.
Yeah. Are you all in and invested in the sport to the point where, like, you could see a scenario of you challenging for titles, world titles even?
It's hard to say because, like I said, the past year, 2, 3 years, I've been in and then I would go out. So I can't lock in and say 100%, but I would, if the opportunity presented itself, I would do what I had to do to get right. I would definitely.
Because you made the comment, like, even if you took the rest of 2025 off, it almost sounded like, okay, 2026, I'd be back with a vengeance at the beginning, and I'd be all in.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I like I said, we were at them fights Saturday, man, and I was ready to. I was ready to go that night.
You had the edge.
You had the edge. But just life happens, and you get busy, and stuff like that. So obviously, you can't always commit 100%. And like we said earlier, like, this isn't a sport where you could do it, when you're not in. So that's why if I was to take the rest of the year off, that would be it, because I can't commit 100%.
Well, because I tell people all the time, I have people on this podcast, and I don't just pull their names out of a hat or whatever, man. I mean, I try to, doing what I do, I try to keep my ear to the pavement. I try to know what's going on, not just with the big name stars, but who's coming up in the sport. And I don't know if you realize or not, man, but there is a certain buzz, and there is a certain, I have heard good things about you as a fighter, man. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I to hear that, man, it brings a smile on my face, not to sound like cheesy, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not a big, I'm quiet, I'm low key, like, I don't even have the social media, so really, my name's not out there like that,
right.
Local people know me, but I'm not like one of these guys posting everywhere, and I'm not a flashy guy, so really, to get my name out there, I just have to do it by my performances. So if you have heard about me through the grapevine or whatever, I mean, that, like I said, that brings a smile to my face, just
Now before I let you out of here, I must know, man, I hate to put you on the spot here, man, but who would be your Mount Rushmore of boxing? The 4 guys that mean the most to you.
In all time?
All time.
Yeah. So Roberto Duran, I love Roberto Duran.
Okay.
Sweet Pea, like I mentioned earlier, I love Sweet Pea. I love a Toro Gotti. Like, not the best, not the best
too.
record.
That's one of my guys.
Yeah. And then a local guy, I don't even know if you might not have heard of him. He's Chuck Masacchio from Wildwood.
No, and now ordinarily, if someone runs a name by me, I usually do know them, man. So fill me in on him a little bit.
So very, very rare situation. Father and son duo. His father trained him his whole career. I think Chuck was 19, 5-2. Light heavyweight from Wildwood, New Jersey, actually. Very, very, very close friend of mine. Honestly, my inspiration in the sport. And he every time before I fight, I let him know, like, Chuck, if it wasn't for you, honestly, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. he just motivated me when I met him. I don't know, pretty much when I first started. And he's just a great dude, and he was a very good fighter, very good fighter. So yeah, and him, like I said, a lot of people will know him, but a lot of people might not know him because he's he's a local guy. But yeah, we're there.
And so when you say he motivated you, man, did you go to one of his fights, or did you get a chance to meet him and actually have a personal interaction with him, and that got you kind of pumped up?
Yeah, so like I said, he's from Wildwood, New Jersey, which is a beach town, and my family would go down there, and we saw the gym. We went up to the gym, and he was actually the first guy I ever sparred. He was one of them guys that he would go in the gym, and he would do 30, 40 rounds with just any, he'd spar with a 3-year-old kid or a 70-year-old guy. He'd spar with anybody. Anybody wanted to hop in the ring. And it's funny because he was my first guy I ever sparred, and I still spar him to this day. Now he's the retired old guy that you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And outside the ring, probably one of my favorite guys. Him and his dad Al. And also what attracted me to him was me and my dad and him and his dad, like the same situation, like that father-son duo.
Yep. So. And now, where do you feel like you do your best fighting, man? Before I let you go, man. So you're currently at featherweight right now, but where do you feel like, is there a specific weight class that you'd really like to settle in and call home?
Yeah, like I said, I'm 26, so I mean, I'm my body's what my body's gonna be, and I'm making 126 with ease. In fact, I was supposed to fight in May, I guess, and I came in at I was supposed to fight at 130, and I came in like underweight actually. So yeah, I think I'm gonna settle in at 26. I could do 22, but just with getting a little bit older and working, I don't feel like just drop the pounds. So 126 is where I'm gonna be.
So featherweight sounds like it's going to be home then.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
Yeah. Listen, bro, I'm glad we got a chance to do this, man. Really, it was a pleasure meeting you, man. And if you do get notification on a fight or anything happens or anything's popping off, let me know. For sure, we're in contact now. I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate you reaching out and having me on, man. Honestly, tell you the truth, this is my first real interview and podcast I ever did. So this is, I feel like a mini celebrity.
Yeah, I've got a couple of guys. Yeah, I've been the first podcast for a couple of guys now. I imagine that would be a good feeling. Now I just got to sit around and wait for someone who wants to interview me.
Yeah. Hey, man, if I had a platform, I'd do it. But no, I think I really, really appreciate you reaching out, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. And as soon as I post it, man, I'll send you the link so you can share it around. I know you're not a big social media guy.
No, I'll get it out there, though.
Yeah, I'll send it to you anyway, man. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's great talking to you, my friend.
All right, you too, brother. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, my pleasure. Later, man.
All right.
There he goes, folks. David Calabro, another Pennsylvania dude. They are putting something in the water there. I'm sorry. I know I'm in upstate New York, man, but I must drive to the border of Pennsylvania and over the border and bottle up some of that water. I got to feed it to my grandkids. I have to dispense it amongst the people. They must share the wealth up there in Pennsylvania. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he made the point. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, they've always been great fight towns, man. Pennsylvania just breeds phenomenal fucking fighters. Just breeds fighting men, So real pleasure getting the chance to talk with David Calabro. 5-0, 3 knockouts. Sounds like he's going to settle into the featherweight division. We'll see what jumps off for him. Just had a fight canceled, as he said. Couple fights fall through. That's frustrating, obviously, especially when you're a young fighter and you're trying to get the career jump started. So hopefully good things will happen for him. Really nice young man. So really hope the career gets jump started because it's been successful up to this point. As I said, 5-0, 3 knockouts, 26 years old. Still plenty of room, plenty of the trajectory can still go much, much, much further up the ladder. So hopefully big things come for him. And really another great young man. A pleasure to have him on, and another great chat. That's what we do here. We're bringing back conversation. We've always done it here for you on Off the Couch Boxing. Like I said before our guest came on, amazing and real boxing conversation. You never know where we're going to go. We're all over the board with it. What were we talking about there? I tell you what we weren't talking about, just boxing, because we were all over the board with it. We were talking this, we were talking that, we were talking MMA, we were talking, upbringings, we were talking about family, we were talking about getting disenfranchised with the sport, not training, lackadaisical, mental focus, just all kinds of stuff, man. Real life conversation, man. Just chopping it up, man. So that's what we do here on Off the Couch Boxing. And I'm glad I got to make David's day by making him feel like a celebrity. That's nice for me to do, man. Always love having people come on here and giving them a platform, especially seeing the young fighters. I mean, if you check the playlist, we've had our share of legends on here. We've had the OGs on here, and utmost respect to them, man. They paved the way. But seeing these young fighters that are going to be the future of the sport, man, that's what really gets me excited. And I love having conversations with the future champions and, these young fighters that are going to take the torch and continue to carry the sport into the 21st century and beyond. So that's really what excites me the most. So, and I had another great young fighter right here, man. So we're continuing to do that here on Off the Couch Boxing. But make no mistake, we do chop it up with the legends. Go check the playlist. You know how we get down. We've ran down a lot of amazing guests. We're north of 260 episodes. I always say there's something there for everybody. So go check out all those past episodes. There's a lot to sink your teeth into. Now I'll get down to pimp mode, because if you have a podcast, your pimp hand has to be strong. You got to get it out there. So make sure to follow Off the Couch Boxing on Facebook. The Facebook page is Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum, both of my podcasts, one Facebook page. You'll get updates on new episodes, when they're dropping, who will be on them, and any other big pertinent boxing news. If it's popping off in the fight game, your boy Reckless Rexx has you covered. You will be informed. Big fight announcements, results, breakdowns, analysis, predictions, viral videos. I'm telling you, man, if something is cracking, your boy Reckless Rexx is on it, and I will put it up there so you guys are in the loop. And of course, if you're here right now on this channel, make sure to like and make sure to subscribe and make sure to smash that notification bell to stay tapped in. This is where you really need to be. This is where all this happens. So if you got your peepers on me right now, pat yourself on the back. You're in the right place, my boxing brethren. So keep it locked right here. Stay tapped in. As I said, we are the undefeated heavyweight champion of boxing podcast. And I'll put our playlist up against anybody because we have ran down some of the best, some of the brightest. So continue to keep it tapped into Off the Couch Boxing. And the good news is we are the champions, but you too can be champions. And it's very simple. The formula is very simple. All you got to do is continue to stay tapped in to Off the Couch Boxing and continue to roll with the champs. Peace.